Nick thought that the Patriots were going to win it all last year.
Super Bowl 53. You and Chandler in Old Hall, you guys called the Patriots are awful. What are you talking about? And I said, okay, you have to
They
have hope in
were
the best
awful.
team in the league. According to Chandler, what are you talking about?
I never said they're gonna win it all.
I
They're gonna be a.
I think they're barely going to miss the playoffs. That's what I'm saying.
I think
Nick,
they're gonna
aren't
make
you the
it.
kid who picked Texas A&M to win our March Madness bracket a couple
And they
years ago?
got to the Sweet 16 that year.
Wow, Nick, that's great.
How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to episode 10, part 2 of the Nosebleeds podcast, where today we're going to continue discussing some more tier lists. My name is Nick Antonakis, and we're back with the OG cast. We got Stuart Brooks, we got Chandler Betts. And today we're going to be actually doing some sports tier lists because this is a sports podcast, surprisingly. If you haven't seen our first part of this episode yet, make sure to go check it out. Episode 10, part 1 should definitely be up by now if you're seeing this. So in that episode, we talked about some pop culture tier lists. We ranked Kanye West's albums. We ranked XXL rapper freshman classes. And we ranked all of the canon Star Wars movies. So if you haven't seen that already, go check it out. It was a really fun episode. We had special guests, John Camerlo on. And it was really fun. I definitely recommend you go checking it out. But we're back here with some actual sports content. You guys ready to dive into the tier list we have prepped for today?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go. So we'll start. We're going to be ranking. We're going to have 2 tier lists today. The first of the 2 that we're going to do is we're going to be ranking the NBA champions since 2010. So let's just start off chronologically. Maybe do you want me to introduce it and then you guys can maybe just list some facts about them because,
Sure.
I'm not the biggest basketball.
I can,
Yeah, if you want to, just for the viewers as well, just to, refresh their memories of who was actually the stars on this team when they won or whatever. So we'll start at the top with the 2010 Los Angeles Lakers.
All right. Okay, so this team had just come off winning another championship in 2009 and making its third appearance in the finals after losing in 2008. Kobe, I think, was 31 or 32 at this time. Pau Gasol was the second star. Andrew Bynum was beginning to play well. They had lost Trevor Ariza, who was their starting small forward, but they had replaced him with Metta World Peace, who was probably a superior defender. They had a pretty strong bench. Lamar Odom was coming off the bench. I think they won 57 games.
Yep.
It was a pretty not a super tough run in the playoffs. They did go 6 with the Suns in the conference finals, and then they beat the Celtics in 7. And in Game 7, it was just famously a pretty low-scoring game. It was only 83-79, but in the end, it was the Lakers' defense that carried them to the championship at the end. And do you want me to say where I put them?
Sure.
Okay, so I have them at a high B. Just comparing them to the rest of the teams on this list, definitely not one of the worst, but somewhere in the middle. Pretty, deep, a good roster for a championship team. Kobe wasn't at his absolute best, but was still pretty good at this point. Still probably a top 2 or 3 player in the league. There's a couple teams that I definitely think are a little more talented, but it's still just I'd say an average championship level team. So I have them at the B tier.
Yeah, I also have them at a high B. They went 16-7 in their postseason run, which I just compiled all of that. It's average for an NBA champion. Yeah. And the Trevor Ariza loss was very important because Trevor Ariza is a really good role player in the NBA. He's somebody who is kind of like a lesser version of Metta World Peace or Ron Artest. And them getting him was huge. They were just a really well-constructed team to be able to come back from 2009. I mean, obviously they have Kobe and Pau Gasol, who were one of the best tandems in the NBA at the time. And 57-25 is also pretty average for an NBA champion. So, yeah, I think high B. I was considering a low A, but I think high B is the best place to put them.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you guys as well. I did have them at a mid to high B range. Like Stuart said before, as good as Kobe has been throughout his entire career, he definitely wasn't at the absolute top of his game during the series. He was still very impressive, but compared to what he did in prior years where he was just absolutely unstoppable, it just it wasn't quite up to that level of play that he had a couple of years ago. So I'll put him at a mid to high B as well.
Okay, so we'll just roll him at a B.
All right. Yeah. So move on to the 2011 Mavs.
Yeah, we'll move on. Yeah, we'll move on to the 2011 Mavs now.
All right. So we know we have a Mavs fan who watches.
Yeah.
Nosebleeds. So shouts out to you. I apologize for what I think we're going to do to the Mavs, but
Ooh, he hates us already.
I would like to preface when I say that this is one of my favorite NBA champion teams, just because of how well constructed they were and how they really contained LeBron and the Big Three in their first year together. I think that I think it was was Colin Cowherd talking to Mark Cuban, and he was talking about how the Mavs didn't win the championship, but LeBron lost the championship. And then Mark Cuban,
You're talking to Skip Bayless.
Oh, Skip Bayless, excuse me. Absolutely destroyed him because it was he was talking about how important
they played the zone
Rick Carlisle was to that team,
Yeah.
and how it was a collective team defense that stopped LeBron, not giving him the shots that he wanted. And I mean, they did it in 6 games, not even 7. They were 16-5 in their postseason run, and also just like the Lakers, 57-27 in the regular season. Having said that, we are comparing this to probably 10 of the best teams of the last decade. I'm giving them a C tier because I love Dirk. I really liked how they had a lot of old players who really contributed good minutes. They had Jason Terry. They had Jason Kidd. They had Peja Stojakovic. They had prime defensive Tyson Chandler, Caron Butler. But you really just can't compare that to having Curry, Durant, and Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, stuff like that. So yeah, I give them a C tier.
Yeah, I say mostly agree with that. Part of the factoring here is also they had an extremely impressive playoff run because they beat Portland. A lot of people expected them to lose that series even in the first round. They swept the two-time defending champion Lakers. They then beat the young Oklahoma City Thunder, who had James Harden, Durant, and Westbrook, and then obviously they beat the Miami Heat. Yeah, but when you're going off just based off when you're looking at this roster, it's very well constructed, but I'd say it's just a slightly worse version of the team we were just talking about. And even though Mark Cuban is right that they did play very effectively against LeBron, it is true that he played very passively in that final series. If he had actually just taken a bunch of jump shots, maybe he misses a lot, but maybe the outcome of that series is a little different if he just plays aggressively, even if they do continue to defend him well. Even though he wasn't as complete of a player then, he still was uncharacteristically passive in that series. He only averaged 18 points a game, which is like a drastically low number for LeBron. So, it makes it, you can, as Chandler was saying, for a lot of people, it's one of their favorite championship teams ever. And I do enjoy this team, but like just comparing it to the talent of the rest of the teams on this list, it has to be a C for me.
I was going to say a C tier at the start of this argument, but when I kind of heard more about the teams that they went through to get here, it kind of just gave some more props to that team. As much as you guys have said, and I totally agree with you, that there wasn't as much star power on this team as there are usually other NBA championship teams like we've seen in the past couple of years with the Warriors, Cavs, the Heat. All those kind of guys had absolute all-star casts there. And I mean, as much as how effective this Mavs team was going against the competition that they faced, I feel that they're not comparable. I mean, they are comparable, but they're not as comparable to the other teams on this list, like you guys said. But due to the fact that they had a very tough road to the championship, I will throw them up at a low B, but I don't think it's going to get much higher than that.
Okay. Me and Chandler both think C, so we should probably throw it.
Yeah, we can go with C. Majority rules.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll throw the 2011 Mavs down in the higher side of the C. So sorry to our Mavs fan.
Yeah. We appreciate
don't hate us.
Comment if you're watching this. Comment what you would put them on for tier.
All right, so now we will move on to the 2012 Miami Heat team, which was a very interesting team to say the least. So why don't you guys go ahead?
Lockout year.
Yeah, lockout year. They just come off losing to Dallas in the finals. LeBron was probably the most criticized athlete in America at this time for not getting the job done. But the team, banded together. They played pretty well in the regular season. LeBron finished with MVP. And then in the playoffs, they beat New York in the first round. They defeated the Pacers in the second round in 6 games. Then they went down 3-2 to the Celtics in the conference finals. But then LeBron had an epic performance at the Garden in Game 6. He scored 45 points. It came out super aggressive, and then they beat the Young Thunder in the finals in 5 games. This team definitely had a lot of talent. We've already talked about a little bit with their, the big three dudes who are all NBA level. Not like the deepest team in the world, but they had some players who could contribute, like Mario Chalmers or like Mike Miller, and Shane Battier was a good pickup for that team. So I have them at a very high B to a low A. I do think that they're better than the other 2 teams we talked about, but I don't think they're like drastically better just because of, they still struggled at certain points in the regular season, and they still struggled at certain points in the postseason. But they would get a little better the following season.
I mostly agree with that. I think this team is very comparable to the 2010 Lakers in terms of success and roster building. As I said, this is a lockout. Not like similarly playing, but in terms of talent and production. So because of course that was a lockout season. I think that was the year also. Side note that the Charlotte Bobcats were like 7-56 or something. It's terrible.
59, yeah.
59. But when you compare or when you adjust the lockout season to how many games there would have been in a standard 82-game season, they were 56-26, or around there.
Yeah.
And which is, the last 2 champions were 57-25, so it's essentially negligible. Both the Heat and the Lakers were 16-7 in the playoffs, and I think that as we will see, this team still had a lot of room to grow together. So I think that a mid to high B is perfectly fine for them.
I'm going to go and agree more with Stuart on this side of things just because of the big 3 that they had there at the time who really carried them through the playoff series that they played. And like Stuart said, despite this team not being as deep as others, I still feel that those elite 3 really carried them, especially in the series against Boston, like you guys said, coming down from 3-2, and LeBron just proving everybody wrong and proving that he still has a lot of gas left in the tank. So I'll throw them up at a low A. I could see maybe a high B as well.
I hope he had gas left in the tank. He's only 27.
Yeah.
No, I know, but people were downing him is what I was saying.
Or 2017, they averaged 32.5 points in the playoffs. In the finals,
Yeah. But I'll say, I kind of want to throw him at a low A, but I could see the high B as well. Maybe even the mid B, but I feel like they should be higher than the 2010 Lakers.
Yeah, so we could put it as a B tier, but higher than the Lakers.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I agree with that. Okay. So we'll throw the 2012 Heat above the Lakers, but in the B tier.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so now we move on back to the Heat. The 2013 Miami Heat.
Yeah.
This team took so many strides from the year before. They ended up going 66-16. I had the same playoff record of 16-7, but I attribute that largely to having to go against the Indiana Pacers in that year, and that was the breakout season of Paul George, and that was when Roy Hibbert was still really good at the whole basketball thing until he became not very good at the whole basketball thing. They had Lance Stevenson. That team was just very good. And this Heat team also in the regular season had a 27-game win streak, which I believe is second behind the Showtime Lakers.
Not Showtime, it's the 70s, but yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
27 in a row.
Yeah, this team, 66-16. I have them. I know I said last time, and we all agree that they were a B-tier team. I have this team as a very low S-tier team.
I have them at an extremely high A, pushing into S. As you're saying, the competition that they had to face, it was the first of many first-round sweeps for LeBron between the years 2013 to 2017. They took on the Bulls in the second round, and they beat the Pacers in the conference finals. 7 games. LeBron hit a very important game layup to win the game in game 1, and if he hadn't have made that, maybe they lose that series. And then they played an extremely well-rounded and good Spurs team with still very, very good Tim Duncan, in his prime Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. LeBron played pretty well in the series, and in Game 7 he scored 37 points, and he hit the game clinching shot up 2 with 37 seconds left. He nailed a jumper from the right side of the free throw line to put them up 4. And also the big thing about LeBron this season was his defense. Most people think he should have been Defensive Player of the Year in this season. He was far and away the best player in the league. He was super efficient offensively, and he was an amazing defender. He should have been the unanimous MVP, but I think someone voted for Kevin Durant. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, just probably his best season of his career, which is saying a lot when you're talking about LeBron. So yeah, and obviously the whole team just had great chemistry. The talent wasn't, say, much higher than it had been the previous 2 years, but the overall chemistry of the team and LeBron himself just puts this team definitely at least a high A for me.
I will agree with the point that Stuart made that this team has definitely made a much of an improvement on their season prior, despite, winning back-to-back championships. And I think winning back-to-back championships is a saying in itself, kind of just saying that this team has not only stayed consistent from the year prior, but in this case, they got even better. So I feel that they definitely belong above the 2012 Heat. But I will agree with Chandler in saying that I think they belong at a low S tier just because of, like you guys said, LeBron's elite play throughout the playoffs and especially in the finals as well. Just kind of, not even carrying them, but just outplaying everybody else on the court. So I feel like they belong at a low S, but,
I mean, also not to mention that Dwayne Wade guy who's pretty good at basketball.
No, yeah.
This is when
pretty good at basketball.
This is when Wade's knees started to go wrong. His impact. This was probably the beginning of when he had begun to exit his prime. Because when they first linked up with Miami, people were still considering him as on the level as good as LeBron. But by this point, it was definitely clear that he was not the alpha of that team. He can still give you. He was still an all-star, but he was definitely no longer. Dwayne Wade going to score 45 points and 20 points in the fourth quarter at this point. He was a legitimate, a perennial role co-star.
Yeah, this was also Ray Allen in Game 6, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of the biggest shots in NBA history.
Probably the greatest shot. Yeah. So maybe if he misses that shot,
then they don't win it too. Yeah, they lose in 6.
I mean, if Kawhi just makes one more free throw, then they win.
Yeah. We'll get to him later.
Yeah.
We'll get to him
Okay,
next.
so where are we going to put this?
Yeah.
I guess I'm okay with putting it at a low S.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So we'll bump him to a low S. 2013 Heat. All right, so now we move on to the 2014 Spurs.
The revenge tour.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll go here. But okay, so after losing a heartbreaker in 7 games in Miami, the Spurs team had a quiet confidence about them all season. They at one point went on a 19-game winning streak, which is pretty impressive, especially in the West. They won 62 games. In the playoffs, they had a scare in the first round versus Dallas. They won 7 games with the 8 seed. But then they beat Portland. They took out the MVP of the league in Kevin Durant, and then they completely demolished the Big Three and basically ended that team with LeBron going back to Cleveland in that offseason. You still had Tim Duncan, who was still an all-star player. Kawhi Leonard coming to his own. He was still only scoring about 12 a game, but he was an excellent wing defender. Tony Parker in his prime, one of the best point guards in the league at this point. One of the deepest teams, I think, ever. Also, perfect team chemistry, amazing passing, coaching, everything. I basically see this as a better version of the 2011 Mavs, so I do have them as a high A tier. I don't think they're quite as talented as a couple of the other teams, but they have plenty of talent. And overall, every other factor aside from talent, it's maybe the strongest team on this entire list. So, yeah, I have them at a high A tier.
I also have them as a high A tier. About the Kawhi Leonard point, this was the series. So Kawhi Leonard was the 15th pick in his draft. He was considered. He didn't appear to have a super high ceiling. He was going to be a really good defensive player, but he didn't have a lot of offensive potential as it seemed. So this series is when he had already eclipsed what people thought his prime was going to be. He was the Finals MVP of that series. He was incredible defensively. And As we'll see, he eventually came into his own offensively. But it was really a scoring by committee team, and that's always what the Spurs have been under Pop. And, yeah, high A, possibly the best coached team in this list. I would argue that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah, I
And,
would agree with that
I
too.
mean, you have Tim Duncan, so many Hall of Famers in that team.
Mhm.
At least 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there has to be.
Yeah, definitely. As you were saying with the Kawhi point, this is definitely in games 1 and 2. He only scored 9 points in each of those games. But in game 3, he had 29 in Miami, and then in game 4, he had 20, and then in game 5, the clincher, he had 18. So he definitely had. It was almost a little bit of a different style for the Spurs because he was just kind of not taking over, but he was just able to score almost at will in that series because they had so many other options on the floor. So that's kind of what led him into getting that Finals MVP. Aside from his talent, obviously he played well defensively on LeBron, which is obviously extremely difficult to do. But yeah, definitely his offensive contributions is what put them over the edge in the series.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys and throw this at a high A. I would say that this team belongs at a high A just because, I mean, like you guys have said, I'm going to just kind of be repeating you guys here, but, Tim Duncan, Kawhi Leonard, the defensive side of Kawhi Leonard, and even his offensive sparks kind of starting to shine in the finals especially, just kind of propelled the Spurs to get the win. And especially, like Chandler said earlier, this was the revenge tour. And I feel like that emotional aspect of finally getting this championship win after, losing the year prior and losing in the playoffs years prior to that was just an extra level of how good this team really was. So I would agree with you guys. It's not as good as the Heat team from 2013, but at the same time, I can't deny how talented they were. So I'll throw it up to a high A.
All right, let's roll it there.
Yeah, all right. So we all agree. High. We're agreeing a lot so far. This is kind of
Yeah.
weird.
That's what that's what I said was gonna happen. But we
Yeah, it
only
makes
have
sense.
4.
Mhm.
NFL might be a little bit different, but I think
it will.
generally similar.
Yeah. But for now, let's keep going with the basketball teams. We got the 2015 Golden State Warriors next up on the list.
This is my second best championship team.
What?
Yeah, this is number 2 for me.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
How ironic that we were saying that this was
We were just all agreeing.
I guess I have it 4th.
4th? Okay, I understand that. But this team, oh my God, I love this team. This is MVP Curry. This is Klay Thompson. This is Andre Iguodala. This team really just revolutionized basketball in this season. This was the year where the three-point ball became a viable way of just being the primary source of offense for a championship team. And they were 67-15, tied for the best record of any champion in this span. They were 16-5 in the playoff run. And for that reason, I have them as an S-tier team. Another low S, but they're an S-tier champion for me.
I have them actually at like a mid-A. I have them below the team we just ranked. Not necessarily because of anything they did in the regular season, though. Steph Curry, while he was amazing this season and considerably better the following one, his numbers for an MVP are kind of low. He only averaged 24 and 7, which is like, could it be like a second-team All-NBA? It's just that his offense around that team was the one that led them. And also the following season, he averaged 31. So, but obviously this team extremely well constructed. Top to bottom, I think it's better than most of the teams you've listed so far. But in the postseason, they definitely got some, I don't want to say breaks, but like they didn't face the Clippers or the Spurs, who I think were the best 2 teams in the West that year. And then in the finals, they had trouble they won in 6, but they had serious trouble with LeBron. And I just say LeBron because Kevin Love, Kyrie, and Verja were all injured. None of them – Kyrie only played game 1. I think if that team is healthy, they probably almost certainly win that finals, especially if Kyrie's there, who pretty much always seemed to have Curry's number. I don't want to take that away from the team exactly, but it definitely says something about like their championship core. Maybe you can't – a team in their first finals, you can't really blame them for having some kind of like, some jitters and stuff. But I think it just kind of takes away from the team overall. But that being said, of course, they have an amazing defense, amazing offense, MVP of the league. 2 All-Stars. Draymond was very good this season. He wasn't quite what he'd be the following couple of years, but he was still really important part of that team. So I have them at a high A, but I don't think they're quite on the championship level as the Spurs that we just ranked or any of the other teams.
Yeah, I actually had completely forgotten about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. Vergel wasn't quite as consequential, but those two
he did
both
start
being,
for them, but
but those two both being injured, I'm fine moving them down to a high A for me. But yeah, that would just put them below the 2013 Heat for me. Still above the Spurs, but below the 2013 Heat.
all right, Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I would agree with Stuart here and say that they're a little bit below the 2014 Spurs, just because I feel that the path to the championship is very important when ranking these teams. And like Stuart said, these guys kind of had an easier trip to getting to that NBA championship than some of these other teams on the list. So I would put them at a mid-A, maybe a higher end of the A, but I feel that they belong below the Spurs, especially because, like you guys said, in the finals with all the banged-up Cavaliers, and then even their road to the playoffs wasn't even that tough, going through some pretty easy teams. Like Stuart said, they didn't have to play the Clippers or anything like that. So obviously I still feel like they're a great team. Curry was, really good that year, even though his stats weren't as great as one would expect an MVP to have. But I still feel that he was elite as he always is. So I would definitely not undermine this team, and I would throw them at a mid-A.
So I think we should put them
Yeah.
there,
Go.
I guess.
Yeah.
Below the Spurs?
Yeah, because me and you both agree with that.
Yeah. All right. So we'll throw them below the Spurs.
3-1 jokes incoming.
Right.
Oh, God.
2016 Cavs.
Yeah, 2016 Cavs.
Oh, my God.
Such a good team.
Okay, I can go.
Go, sir.
So this team definitely, out of all the teams we've ranked regular season wise, this match should be the worst because they didn't have a regular season MVP. I don't think Kyrie Irving was actually an All-Star this season because he entered the season injured. So there was only one All-Star, and that was LeBron. A pretty deep team, though, lots of talent. They were the 1 seed in the East. But then the playoffs, this is when the dominance of the East that LeBron enjoyed for a couple of seasons in 16 and 17 started. They swept the Detroit Pistons in the first round. Then they swept the Atlanta Hawks in the second round. And then they beat the Raptors in 6. And then, of course, as we all know, easily the greatest comeback in NBA history, down 3-1. No team had ever done that before. LeBron played at the highest he had ever done. Kyrie played at the highest he's ever done. They both scored 41 in Game 5. LeBron scored 41 in Game 6 in Cleveland. And then, of course, in Game 7, very clutch performance, even though the Warriors didn't exactly show up completely, especially Steph Curry. But, it just was an amazing comeback. And you have to give them credit overall to their overall talent, that they were able to pull something off like that against what many had already considered the greatest team of all time in NBA history. So I have them at an A tier. I have them just below the team we just ranked, just because they do have, I don't want to say inferior talent, but just less of a, they don't play they played in the East, so an easier path to the finals, and their overall record wasn't as good. But when it comes to just finals performance, they might be the strongest out of any of these teams. So I have them just below the Warriors. So I have them at a mid-A tier.
Yeah, I think Stuart put it really well. They won 10 less games than the 2015 Cavs, and they still had the same playoff record. Though, the East is and has been a lot easier of a path pretty much since the end of the Boston Big Three. It's been an easier path than the West, even probably before that. But there's really only been one team that everyone expected to come out of the East from 2015 to 2018, until 2018. So, having said that all, I agree with Stuart. I'd put them a little bit lower. I'd put them at a lower A, but that's really just a preference thing. Obviously, best comeback in NBA history. Probably top 4 comebacks in sports history.
Mm-hmm.
Top 5. I'd say top 5. I can say that comfortably. But, I mean, LeBron block, Kyrie step back over Steph Curry. Picturesque. You could frame so many moments of that series, put it on your wall if you're a Cavs fan. I would not do that because I'm not a Cavs fan. But there are just so many iconic moments from that series that I think you have to give that kind of credit for that. So I'd say low A.
I'm probably going to lose this, but I'm going to say that I feel that they belong at a low S tier just because of the sheer amount of talent that was shown throughout the playoffs, just because even though I said before, like, you know, hard-fought series and stuff like that are very important when ranking these teams when you're going along the road to the championship. But at the same time, I feel like the pure dominance that they showed over the teams that they faced in the first and the second round kind of propel them above some of these other teams that we have in the A rank. And like you guys have said, I feel like that this finals performance is probably one of the best that we've ever seen. They had, you know, LeBron popping off, Kyrie popping off. Love was there as well, doing really well. So for that reason, I feel that they belong at a lower S tier just because of the, you know, like Chandler said, like the picture perfect moments that kind of made this final series and stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys are going to agree with me, but I feel that they belong at a lower S tier. Probably, definitely below the 2013 Heat, but
I do see your point about how, you know, the talent and the degree of difficulty in that final series, but you also have to take into account, like, it's not, like, surprising that they swept those teams, although they did.
Yeah.
Like, the Pistons were the 8th seed, and the Hawks weren't extremely good. And then, you know, the Raptors did take them to 6 games in the conference finals. Also, you know, you have to take in the totality of the season. I think they're the worst record out of any team that's won this entire decade.
Behind the 2012 Heat, but that was just adjusted wins.
Yeah,
adjusted wins. So,
and, you know, you have to talk about team chemistry. They fired their coach at midseason. David Blatt was fired. So when you're just looking at the team overall throughout the entire season, which is part of, you know, ranking them as a title team, you have to take that into account as being worse than any team we've ranked so far. And they didn't have an MVP or anything. But that doesn't mean that they weren't talented, but it just, you know.
I mean, they're 10 wins worse than in the regular season, 10 wins worse than the Spurs, 5 worse than the Heat, which, I mean, obviously you're not saying that they're better than the Heat. They are 10 games worse than the Warriors in 2015 and 5 games worse than the Spurs in 2014. So you're saying, I just want to make sure I understand what you're saying, that the 2016 Cavs are a more impressive win or impressive team than the 2015 Warriors and the 2014 Spurs?
I believe so. By a small margin, I feel that they are.
Okay. I mean,
I don't mind more impressive, but actually better overall, I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of, like, just having the most impressive win in the finals, I don't think you can really argue that it is the 2016 Cavs. But in terms of, like, the totality of the team and the season, I don't think that you can put a 57-win team in S tier.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with your point about the regular season. Even it was kind of detrimental compared to what other finals winning teams have gone through. So I will agree with you there and bump them down to the A tier. But, you know, I feel that their finals performance just says a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next one. 2017 Warriors.
Next we have the 2017 Golden State Warriors.
Yeah, I don't think we have to spend too much time on this one. It was the Warriors had just won 73 games the year before and reached the finals and nearly won. And then they added arguably the greatest scorer in NBA history in Kevin Durant. This team was extremely well coached. They won 67 games in the regular season despite a few injuries. They completely blasted through the playoffs. And it's not like they were playing weak teams completely. They played Portland in the first round. Then they swept the Jazz. Of course, there was the Zaza Pachulia incident in the conference finals, but they destroyed that Spurs team. And I'm not a subscriber to the camp that even if Kawhi was healthy, they would have won that series. I think it still would have been like a 5 or 6 game win for the Warriors. And then they destroyed the team that had beat them the year before, 5 games against probably the most talented Cavs team because that team was pretty deep. So yeah, just front to back. I think there's an argument even to be made that this is the greatest team in NBA history. You know, 4 All-Stars, 2 players who are both top 3 players in the league. Just really incredible, and I think the S tier, the best team out of all of these.
I mean, yeah, I can't really say anything more than that. 16-1 in the playoffs.
Oh,
you can definitely make the argument that they are better than the '96 Bulls. It's really close. I
think they're better.
I
I think it's the best team in history.
Yeah.
What about that
Yeah.
Lakers team though, with Shaq and Kobe?
I mean, there's definitely an argument. The 01 Lakers
Yeah.
is a top 5 team in league history, but this team, like, that team had 2 top 4, 3 players in the league like this one, but this team was a little bit deeper. And not only did that, okay, so we already talked about they both have 2 top 3 players, but this Warriors team has the 2 top 3 players and 2 other, like, high-tier all-stars on their roster. Klay Thompson,
That's true.
when he's
Klay
hot, is
Thompson's
probably
probably
the
top
best shooter
12.
ever. Yeah,
I'd say he's
Oh,
at
yeah.
least at this point. And then Draymond was Defensive Player of the Year this season. Jeez.
Yep.
It was Defensive Player of the Year this
Oh
season.
wow,
so,
what a team!
Yeah.
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 Wait, Chandler, did you say that their playoff record was 16-1?
Yep.
Yeah,
The
they
next
lost
closest
one-
They
is
lost to
16.
one game.
They
Yep.
they swept the first 3 rounds, and then
They swept the
won.
Western Conference.
They went up 3-0 against the Cavs. The Cavs won a desperation game 4 in Cleveland, then they defeated the Cavs
Oh
in game 5.
my god!
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a massacre. Okay, they have to be
Durant-
S tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Durant scored 30 points in every single finals game, at least 30 points.
He's
like,
Jeez.
Durant.
say
is
what
a
you want
demigod.
about him.
He's a 7 foot. He's a 7 foot demigod.
Yeah, he's just a beast.
It's ridiculous.
Mhm.
But Greg
Just like Taco.
No,
He's not like Taco. He's the
See, Kevin
opposite of
Durant can
Taco.
like
He's a joke.
move. He can jump. He can run. He can shoot. He can pass.
He can
He can
defend.
play better defense. He can defend all 5 positions.
Wow,
He can do a lot of things that Taco can't do. Like,
Taco's tall,
Yeah.
and Taco
he
is
can't
taller
move.
than Kevin Durant. That's true.
and Giannis.
I think Kevin Durant is taller than Giannis.
I think they're about
No,
the same
no.
height.
I said Taco.
Oh, Taco is taller than Giannis. Yeah, and I'm
He
taller
has
than you.
His 11 career points mean a lot, Nick. All right.
Let's go.
All right. Anyway, hopefully the Celtics will just win the championship there. But anyway, well, yeah, we can
That
all
doesn't
agree.
add to your point.
I don't know. I was just trying to transition
All right.
because we were talking about the Taco, and then we're going back to
The
championship
Taco.
teams. So, I hope the
The
Celtics
Taco.
win the championship this year. Anyway,
2018 Warriors.
yeah, we can all agree 2017 Warriors are S tier. So now we'll move on to the 2018 Warriors, the second to last team on our list.
Yep. So I think this team is not as good as the team we just ranked, but they still had all 4 of those dudes were still all stars. Kevin Durant actually improved as a defender this season. They did struggle again with some injuries, and they won fewer games, but they still won 58, which is pretty good. And then the postseason, they played very well, though they did go to 7 games with the Rockets. They swept the Cavs in the finals. This team is obviously still very talented, just as talented as the year before, pretty much. So I still have them as an S tier, just below the 2017 team.
I just have them as a super high, like the highest A tier team, just because
Really?
I don't feel
Hmm.
comfortable giving a team under 60 wins an S tier. That's just me
Not
personally.
so- well, but there's so much more. They're considerably better than that other Heat team.
With the 2013,
Yeah. That team
I
had
mean-
2.5 All-Stars. This team has 4.
yeah, it's not really the argument to be made, but also the 73-9 Warriors were better than this team. So it's
No, they
not
weren't.
just, yeah, I think that they
You re-
were.
Dude, they didn't have the best player on either of those teams. Oh, the best player out of those teams is Kevin Durant, and he wasn't on that first team. Just because they won less regular season games doesn't mean that they were better. They were conserving themselves for the playoffs.
Yeah, because
Also, Durant
What was
was-
it? What did their
Durant-
playoff run look like?
Okay, so they went
16-5, which is still really
Okay.
good. It's the second highest.
They went 5 with the Spurs in the first round. Who did they play in the second round that year? Oh, they played the Pelicans. All right. But yeah,
Pelicans.
just 58 is a little bit low in
Yeah.
comparison, but it's just like, first of all, they play in the West, so you have to give them that. And
That's
second of all, I mean, you just have to give Kevin Durant,
Yeah,
he's
you're right.
just so good. You just can't not include him as a factor.
I would say we throw them at S tier, but they're like almost even with the 2013 Heat. I would say,
I'd say they're better. Like, definitely.
but
better.
because they were in
There's
the
no
West,
argument.
which is a good point. Because
Yeah,
the Heat
I
were
mean,
Heat were in
The only
East.
thing is that the Heat had more to prove. That's the only thing I can really say.
That's true.
I agree with Stuart now. But God, I really hesitate to say that. But yeah, I think they're an S tier team.
It kind of sucks because it's like I just remember reading this quote from Bob Myers that he said that it was like when they won that championship, it was not even like that exciting because it was like,
Damn.
oh, we were expected to do it and we did
Yeah.
it, but it wasn't even like they did it like the last season. You know, they didn't win 67 games and then go 16-1. They just like won pretty convincingly over every team in that year's playoffs, and you know they were the 1 seed in the regular season. Actually, no, they were the 2 seed actually, but it's still, it doesn't matter though because they just had that level of talent that's just like unbelievable compared to almost any team in NBA history.
Yeah, I would
So it's
agree
hard
with you
to
there.
not rank them at an S, even though they're probably the most boring, the least memorable almost of any of these teams. Because like you're gonna remember the
True.
2017 team more, or the 2015
Yeah, I know. I
team.
just kind of merged them together.
You might even remember the 2019 team more for having Boogie,
Yeah.
although they didn't win.
All right. So can we all agree that they're an S tier?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So we'll throw them in an S tier, but below the 2017 by a relatively big margin, I would say.
Mhm.
All right. So now we move on to the last team. Probably the team I'm probably most familiar with on this list, just because it's most recent. We have the 2019 Raptors.
Mm-hmm. So I have these at a B tier, a high B. I think that they're, as we were comparing them a little bit to I think they're a bit like the 2011 Mavericks and a bit like the 2010 Lakers. You know, a team that played well in the regular season, had a good playoff run. This is definitely one of the most difficult playoff runs in the East of any of these teams, probably the most difficult in the East. Playing Philadelphia in the second round and then coming back down 2-0 against Milwaukee, and even playing a nice Orlando squad in the first round, and then beating the Warriors, albeit without Kevin Durant for most of the series. But it was still a very talented team that they did defeat, and taking into account that Kawhi was actually kind of banged up for most of that series. So it really gives a testament to the team.
Wow, yeah.
They had. They definitely have 3 dudes who are all-stars. Lowry, Kawhi, and Siakam are all, and they have they have a super deep team. Marc Gasol kind of having a renaissance of his career. Nick Nurse did a great job coaching this team. It meant a lot for Canada. I can't put them above some of the other teams on this list. I think they're not quite as good as like the 2015 Warriors or the 2013 Heat or even the 2016 Cavs, but like they're right there. I think they're a high B.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of take the similar logic to the 2019 Raptors as Stewart did for the 2015 Warriors, in the way that if we don't have Kevin Durant go down, if we don't have Boogie with a torn quad, I think it was, if we don't have Curry who dislocated a finger in the semifinals.
And then Clay who tore his ACL.
And then Clay who tore his ACL,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. If this team is healthy, then I don't think the Raptors are winning this championship, no matter how good Kawhi Leonard is in the playoffs. How elite he was.
I think they could push it to 6.
Series. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, I have them as. I'm just looking at the other teams that we have. I think I have to have them above the Lakers of 2010 and above the 2012 Heat. So I'd say high B.
Yeah, I have them there too.
I would say that they're a little bit lower than the 2010 Lakers, but that's just me.
Why?
Just because of the pure star power that the Lakers – well, actually, Because the Raptors had just as much star talent. You're right. Because of Kawhi, Lowry, all those guys.
Yeah, Kawhi in 2019 was comparable to 2010 Kobe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would say
know.
he was even a little bit better.
Maybe
Maybe
playoff run-wise, maybe, yeah.
Kawhi popped off against Milwaukee.
Yeah.
And against Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Well, Philadelphia was the icon. Yeah, he scored so many points in that playoff series. But yeah. And he was still an elite, he's one of the best defenders at that point still.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so I'll agree with you. I'll throw him above the 2010 and 2012 championship teams. So we'll throw him at a high B.
All right. You want to list them off?
All right, yeah, so I'll read them off now. In the S tier, we have the 2017 Warriors, the 2018 Warriors, and the 2013 Heat. In the A tier, we have the 2014 Spurs, the 2015 Warriors, and the 2016 Cavs. Then in the B tier, we have the 2010 we have the 2019 Raptors, then the 2010 Lakers, then the 2012 Spurs. I can't speak. And then in C tier, we have the Mavs. Sorry to our Mavs fan, our
I'm
famous
sorry.
Mavs fan. But, yeah. Okay,
Keep
so
coming.
now we
Alright.
move on to a subject that I actually know about.
That was the
We
most.
move on to the
that was the most
football.
agreeable thing we've ever done.
I know.
I
It
know.
still
Really.
took like
That
an
was
hour.
just yeah. We agree. Wow, that's actually that's Nosebleeds history right there. I don't think we've ever said I agree with you so many times.
I
Yeah,
know.
I think that took like 45.
It's 42 minutes.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
so we started at 12. All right, this one. All right. Let's
All
go.
right, so now we move to the Super Bowl winning team since 2010, a subject that I am much more familiar with. So you'll
All right,
hear
so-
some more bold takes from me. So we'll start from the bottom. We'll go with the 2011 Packers.
Go Packers.
Where do you guys want to put them?
I have them as a C tier. This team
Really?
only went 10-6 in the regular season, and of course we're taking totality here. They started the year 4-6. They weren't even a winning team. They didn't win their division. Of course, the playoff run they went on was quite impressive. Who did they beat in the wild card? I can't remember, but they beat the Falcons in the divisional.
Yeah.
I think it was Philadelphia.
Yeah, I think you're right with Michael Vick. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yeah, they
Michael
beat that team, and they they destroyed the Atlanta Falcons, who were like super good at home that year. This is like they just like wiped them out, as the Falcons tend to do in big playoff games. But then in the NFC Championship, this is where actually take away from them a little bit. They played well defensively in that game, but Jay Cutler, who was actually not that bad that year, got injured, and then they had to put Caleb Haney in the game, which ended up a pick six to the massive fridge BJ Raji for pick six
From BC.
And of course they won that game on the road in Soldier Field, and then they went on to play a pretty good Pittsburgh Steelers team in the Super Bowl. They kind of destroyed them for the beginning of the game. They were 21-3 at a certain point. Steelers made actually a pretty impressive comeback that not a lot of people talk about, but the Packers held them off and won. But, when you talk about the totality of the team, of course they got hot. They played extremely well in the playoffs, 4-0, 3-0 on the road. But they did start the season 4-6. They did finish 10-6. They didn't have the strongest defense in the world. So it does take away from them, especially considering the level of some of these teams on this list. I have them as like a high C.
I'm going to say –
or go, Nick.
Oh, I was going to throw them at a B just because, I agree with you that their regular season was pretty bad, especially at the beginning, going 4-6, like you said. That's not playoff caliber, let alone Super Bowl caliber of a team. But at the same time, bro, there's construction going on in the background. If you can hear it, I'm sorry. But I feel that their playoff run, like I've said 100 times, even in the NBA one, I feel like a playoff run defies a team. And that was one of the best playoff runs that we've seen in a long time. Just coming down from being the wild card team,
Was it, though?
beating out. What'd you say?
Yeah, was it?
Really one of the best? It was good. Don't get me
I would say
wrong.
one of the best of the century so far.
All right,
definitely.
all
It
right.
was one
The
of the
Eagles
10 best.
right.
Of the
Eagles
century?
the Eagles was a good win.
No, one of the
okay?
10 best in the
And the
decade.
Falcons going up
No,
against
it wasn't. They played terrible at home. They choked in the playoffs like they always do. And then they played Jay Cutler / Caleb Haney in the NFC Championship game.
It wasn't a bloodbath.
and the
And
Super Bowl.
Okay, that's the only one that I can give
Yeah.
them tons of props.
Big
But
old
they were
Ben.
favored in that game, so I'm not gonna be like, oh, what a great upset or anything like that.
Well, I feel like their whole playoff run was kind of an upset.
Not really.
I'm sure they were
how?
favored in that game against the.
I mean,
they were
They
definitely
were the
favored in that game
wild
against the
card
Eagles.
team. How's that not an upset?
The wild
They were
card
definitely-
team wins about 15% of the Super Bowls, which is pretty
Wow.
impressive.
Wait, what? 15%? Oh, yeah, you're right. Well, because
Yeah.
wild card won. Well, I
Wild
still feel
cards
like they
aren't
belong to
always
B,
that
though.
big underdog.
The three teams that they played in that NFC run were not anything special. If any of those teams had gone on to the Super Bowl, there's no way they're beating that Pittsburgh team.
Yeah.
Not
Or
even
if the
Bears.
Patriots somehow made the Super Bowl,
unless-
they should have beaten the Jets that year. But
Yeah.
how did we lose the Jets, man? That's
yeah.
sad. Rex Ryan.
I also have them at a high C. The real
I love high C.
tiebreaker for me was the
Sorry.
tiebreaker for me was the Jay Cutler injury. Jay Cutler, I'm somebody who really likes Jay Cutler as a quarterback.
Really?
I think that I do.
like Jay Cutler, smoking Jay.
Smoking Jay.
Oh.
I like Jay Cutler. I think that he gets
Chandler
a lot of,
endorses cigarettes.
Damn.
I
That's my
think that he
pick.
gets a lot of undeserved flack for the way the media
For throwing
is
a bunch of
portraying him.
terrible interceptions and,
I think
and
that-
appearing disinterested in the game's outcome. That's kind of important too.
I mean,
He's like this all the time. He's like.
Jay Cutler's
I
got to
think
watch
that-
out for the metal monster.
Also, remember his wife posted a picture of his butt on Instagram one time.
What
I
is?
do that. Yeah. Jay
Wow,
Cutler's he's
how
an
this
eccentric
conversation has
personality.
evolved.
Jay
I know.
Cutler.
I like Jay Cutler. I think that the media paints a narrative of him that he doesn't care about football, but I don't think that anybody at that level, I mean, except maybe Albert Hainsworth, I don't think you can really say that about anybody, because Albert Hainsworth is just criminally.
He just gave up. Actually, that
He's
was
got
this season. It was just this season that they were playing the Eagles on Monday Night Football, and
Yeah.
he got
He just stayed
blocked
laying
to the
on the ground.
ground, and then he just laid there. He just laid there.
And John
Or
was
like-
like, I mean, I know it's really muddy, but you got to get up against Michael Vick. You can't let him keep running around on you.
Yeah, that's just sad,
No, that
man.
was
They
bad.
paid $100 million in 2010 for that contract, and he did basically nothing.
Wow.
It was bad.
Hainsworth. He was
The,
great in
the
Tennessee,
Washington,
but-
we don't have a football team name from
Yeah.
the Tennessee Titans.
Washington. Beep.
Yeah, the Washington TBDs.
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right,
so where do you have- you have
I'll
the-
budge.
high seed.
I'll budge. I'll throw him in
Yeah,
a
you
high
better
seed.
budge.
Yeah.
Dang, okay.
Your argument's bad.
Maybe I
man.
won't then. You
You can't
Okay, it's
budge
still
because
2-1.
majority rules. It's still 2-1. It's a high C. Yeah, how do you feel?
know what? Fine.
Yeah.
2011 Packs.
Packs.
Pack.
Go Pack.
Packs.
Go Packs.
Out of C tier.
Shut up, Vinny.
Shout out, Vinny.
Yeah.
Now we go to the 2012 Giants.
Ooh.
Stuart, I think I know what
Ooh,
your.
This is
yeah,
my
boo,
first
so-
bad
boo.
football memory.
Patriots should have won.
This is-
game.
Okay, so this is the only team
The
I have
Welker
as a D
drop.
tier. This is the only team I have at a D tier.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that they were bad or anything, but they were 9-7 in not a very strong division. I can't remember who these teams played in the wild card round. Oh, they played
They
Atlanta.
beat
They
the
played Atlanta.
Falcons, and they beat them
Yeah.
24-2.
2, yeah, I remember
Bro.
that. Okay, they beat the choking Falcons yet again. The most impressive win was that one over the 15-1 Packers. They just beat the
Yes.
crap out of them in Lambeau
And the
Field.
Patriots.
Well, but we'll get to that. Okay.
Well, not
yeah,
as
and then
impressive. Not as impressive as the
The
Packers,
NFC
actually.
Championship was a really good one against the Niners, but that team was young, not exactly ready. Alex Smith, you can't, what are you gonna say about Alex Smith? But anyway,
He's a bang average quarterback.
yeah, that it was a good game, but they only just won that game, so you can't give them like a heap. I can't praise them, but I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, they destroyed them or anything. And then in the Super Bowl, I mean, that was a very good Patriots team, very good offense, and Welker, they got a couple breaks. Brady had a safety on intentional grounding. The Mario Manningham catch, the Welker drop. But and we let
Welker drop.
we let Ahmad Bradshaw score, but
Oh, God.
the Patriots had not a great performance in that game.
We had so many chances to win, and we just
Yeah.
didn't.
So I'm
Yeah.
not going to give I'm going to give the Patriots negative points for failing, but I'm not going to give the Giants points for Welker dropping that pass because they didn't.
Yeah.
He was open, so I'm not going to say anything. It's not they went 9-7 in a fairly weak division. They made it they won the Super Bowl, but it wasn't like the most insane playoff run ever. They were definitely talented offensively and defensively, but not at the level of some of these other teams, kind of like I was talking about with the Packers. And then, they played well in that Super Bowl, but they let
We
themselves
so
have
could have
chances
won
to
that
lose.
game.
They had chances to lose it. It was close. So
I would
Bro,
like to make
I feel
my
like
argument
Oh, yeah,
with a
go ahead.
quote.
oh, God.
They are who we thought they were. We
Right.
let them off the hook.
and we left
You
them
want to go
hook.
crown them as champions? Go crown them
They
as
crowned
champions.
their ass.
But they are, crown their ass. But
Rest
they
in peace,
are
Dennis
who we
Green.
thought they were. D tier. I would like to preface this, or I guess not preface, the one after. Post face, maybe.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know.
right.
Yeah, but D tier. I hate the Giants. I really dislike. Like everyone is like, oh yeah,
Giants,
the Patriots' most common rivalry is the Steelers because they've always been so good at the same time,
Nope.
or the Jets because we play each other so often. No, it's the Giants.
The
I hate
Colts.
the Giants. If I could see
And the
one
Colts.
team suffer, no, I'd still say the Giants. I know the Colts. We've
What
had
is a joke?
a prolonged rivalry with Peyton Manning and to a certain extent, but also Andrew Luck. But no, it's the Giants. I hate the Giants. I really
I
hate
despise
the
the
Giants.
Giants. And
I'm
I
just trying to be objective about it. I still don't think they're better than a single
yeah.
team on our list.
Oh
So
yeah, no,
that's why I
they're
have
not
no
better
team.
than anyone.
yeah,
here.
let's not try and be homers here because we're not even we're acknowledging that the Patriots played a pretty bad game and they
Oh, the Patriots were really bad in that game. They had so many chances to win the game, and it seemed like every time they could have won the game, they actively tried to lose it.
We're not ranking the Giants low just because they beat the Patriots, as you will kind of see later on.
No, it's just a side note.
Yeah, it's just a side note. You know, it's a extra spice thing of, you know, they beat the Patriots,
What are you saying,
so
Nick?
screw them. But
Extra
yeah,
spice?
extra sprinkle of hate for the Giants. But imagine we had a Giants fan watching right now. He's probably crying.
I hope we do.
I mean, they
That'd
can
be
make the
cool.
argument right back.
If you're
I
a
don't
Giants-
dislike you as a person. I just dislike what you.
I would rank the
stand for.
2007 team much higher than this team.
Yeah, the
Their
2017
yeah.
playoff
was very
their
good.
playoff run was more impressive. They played better in the Super Bowl. They played a better Patriots team, and they had a better overall roster. Yeah,
Yeah.
the defense was really good. Slightly better offense.
Yeah.
Victor Cruz was really good that season. I'll give him that. But
If we have a Giants fan, put it down in the comments. Be like, yo, I'm a Giants fan. Screw you.
yeah, they
We'll
did
like
it
your comment, I
twice.
promise.
Yeah,
The
we'll
Tyree
like your
catch.
comment. We swear. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll pay.
that's not going to change the fact that the Giants are a D tier. They're going all the way down, bottom of the bucket. 2012 Giants, low D tier.
All right, 2013 Ravens.
2013 Ravens.
All right, what do I have these guys? Okay, so I also have them as a C tier here. So I was kind of comparing them a little bit to the 2011 Packers, but not. I think they're better. So maybe they could even be a low B for me. The defense is pretty good. You got an aging Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, but they can still be productive. You had some other guys out there. I'm forgetting his name right now, but no, I'm talking about the defense. His last name is Webb. I don't know. Ladarius Webb or whatever his name. I can't remember. Was Jimmy Smith there at that time? I think so.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, they had. I don't know why I'm forgetting a lot of the names on their defense, but they had a good defense.
It's not a very
Suggs,
memorable
right.
Super
Also Hard
Bowl.
University.
Yeah, they had a good defense, like well above average, and a really emotional team. They won their division, a good division. You know, Steelers and Bengals were there, both borderline playoff teams at the time. Then in the playoffs I think it's one of the best playoff runs. I think it's considerably better than that Packers run that we were talking about. They beat the Colts with a young Andrew Luck. It's not too much, but then they defeated the 13-1 number 1 seed Denver Broncos in the divisional game with Raheem Moore failing to knock down the Jacoby Jones touchdown down the sideline. And, of course, touchdown for the Ravens and then in the double overtime game. And then defeated the Patriots while trailing on the road in Foxborough. It's the first time that's ever happened. No team had ever won a playoff game. No team had ever won a game at Foxborough while trailing at halftime in the Brady Belichick era until that game. Really an impressive showing by their defense and their offense in that game. And then playing an extremely talented and electric 49er team in the Super Bowl. Flacco played amazing in that game, best game of his career. They won that game. They had an amazing goal line standing as Kaepernick in the fourth quarter. And, you know, Jim Harbaugh got really mad because he thought that they interfered with Crabtree. He was like, on the sidelines. But, yeah, so I do, you know, an amazing run. So that puts them probably actually at a B tier for me. But, you know, I think they went 10-6 or 11-5 in the regular season. So they're not like – and, you know, talent top to bottom, it's not quite as good as some of the other teams on this list.
So I think that there are 3 teams on this list of the 10 that are very similarly constructed, and I have them. One of them as a C, one of them as a mid C, one of them as a D, being the Giants. One of them as a high C, low B. I would say high C, and that is the 2012 Ravens. And then we'll get to the team that I have as a high B, low A, which is constructed very similarly. And yeah, I think Stuart put it very well. The Ravens, we all forget because Joe Flacco is not an especially impressive quarterback. We forget how really he was for like 4 games. He was an elite quarterback.
He was more than elite. He was like legendary.
Yeah,
It was really, really good.
It was.
I mean, statistically, it's the best playoff run ever. 11 touchdowns and no picks.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Dang,
like,
Nick, how do you feel that Joe Flacco just like owned us?
Yeah.
I kind of like Joe Flacco.
No, you don't.
Wow, you hate the Patriots now? Wow.
No.
So you're just a traitor to the Patriots.
Yeah,
All
you
right.
used to trade us.
No.
Get out of here.
If anything, you are
Yep.
because you hate Stidham.
Well,
He's not a
Stidham
New
has
England-
we have no loyalty to Stidham.
Okay,
He's
we're not
played
going to
here
get
1
Stidham.
year.
We're not going to get to Stidham again. We're not gonna
Yes,
get
we
to
are.
Stidham
I'm
again.
ready to go, Nick.
I'm revving and ready to go for Jared
I was
Stidham.
firing in the chat last night.
Where do you guys have them ranked?
I say high C.
I have them at a high B.
Ooh! All right, you guys can debate that because I'm in between you.
Well, because I just think that their defense was not only incredible, but then again, going back to my main point, we got the playoff run of the ages.
Nick, rank their defense. Nick, list
amongst this list.
Who's on their defense?
Ray Lewis.
No, other than Ray Lewis and Ed Reed and Terrell Suggs.
Okay, I don't know. The
They
guy you
can't
said,
name-
Wills. You don't even know any other ones.
Webb.
Yeah. Okay, who do you know besides him?
I'm gonna take a quick hiatus.
Exactly.
I'll be back.
Okay, bye, Chandler.
Jimmy Smith was on that team too. I don't know. I'm forgetting
Wow.
one pass rusher that they had that was really good. I can't remember his name.
Anyway.
But you can't
Not only
make that point if you're not going to say
Well,
they're
not only that, but Flacco played exceptionally, like you said. And then the playoff run to get there, going against the Colts, and then who is it? The
Broncos.
Oh yeah, Broncos with Peyton, and then the Patriots.
Omaha.
Yeah, Omaha.
Yeah, we lost. How do you feel?
I don't even really remember that game, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I don't even remember it. I remember watching the Super Bowl, but I don't remember watching Patriots lose. Wasn't it with the field goal?
No.
Field goal?
They beat us pretty convincingly. It was like 28-13.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, the year before that, Billy Cundiff missed the field goal.
Oh yeah.
And then we won the Super. I mean, we won the Super Bowl. We won the AFC Championship. But
I hate that year. I can't even look back on that year because I hate it so much. But I mean, as much as I agree that this type of structured team, at least in Chandler's mind, like he was saying before when he was hinting at who he had at the third structured team, which I kind of know who it is. But even though these types of teams structurally aren't as superior as others that we are going to have on this list, at the same time, I don't think we can undermine how good Flacco was and how good the defense was.
all right, fine.
And I'm
We can
not
just put
saying
let's
this is an A-tier
B.
team.
Let's just put them at a B.
I think, yeah, if we put them at a B, but I'm going to argue if we throw other teams in the B tier, that this team's going to be the highest of all of them.
No, I have two other teams that are better already on
Well,
here.
let me look
all
back. Yeah, I would say that it's better. Yeah, better than actually.
Well, it depends on where you rank it.
One of these other teams that I'm putting.
Okay,
in here.
fine.
And look
All right,
at the
fine.
Bet on Bets is back.
All right, so what did I miss?
Not really much.
I
We just
won.
argued about nothing.
I won the
Nick,
argument.
no, we didn't. I have them as a mid to low B team, and that's where we're replacing them. So I won.
No,
Who is it?
Yeah,
the Ravens.
Chandler's yeah.
Well, I had him at a high B. Stuart had him as like a low B, high C, and then Chandler had him as a high C. So I think
So
that
put
averages out to like a mid B.
It averages out to a low B.
Yeah, just put them at the B, and we'll figure it out.
Whatever,
Okay, yeah, fine. We'll throw him at B for now, and then when we start getting other teams there, we'll decide.
All right. What's
All right,
next?
so
Ooh,
2013 Ravens at a B tier. Now we go to the 2014 Seahawks.
Both men
All right.
stand up.
I had this one at a S tier.
Really?
I think this is the greatest secondary ever. Like, I wouldn't say by a comfortable margin, but definitely. I mean, when you have Sherman, Thomas, and Cam Chancellor, like, how are you supposed to pass on that? And then they had a decent pass rush, actually pretty good pass rush, very well coached.
Michael Bennett.
Yeah, Michael Bennett, Cliff Averill, Bruce Irvin. He just retired.
Bennett just retired. Yeah.
I saw that. Yeah. But anyway, this team is very obviously extremely good in defensive side of the ball, the best in the league by far, like by a considerable margin. Great home field advantage at CenturyLink Field. And then their offense, we have Russell Wilson's scrambling ability. He could throw. This is probably their best receiving core and O-line for the Seahawks. They had Doug Baldwin, they had Percy Harvin, and they had Golden Tate, who would leave the following. He would leave to go to Detroit. Really strong offense. And then Marshawn Lynch, probably maybe his best season, beast mode. He was just dominant in the running game. Overall, just a really good team. In the playoffs, they beat Drew Brees and the Saints. They defeated a good Niners team, and then they just shell-shocked the Broncos in that game.
Oh, yeah, that was embarrassing.
We're talking about talent on a roster. It's just as talented, I think, as almost as any of these teams on this list. And pretty good playoff performance, well coached. I gotta have them in an S tier. Maybe not necessarily like a super high S tier, but they're for me, they're comfortably at an S tier.
I mean, yeah. I just have them at a low S tier.
Yeah, so do I.
I can't really argue against any of that. The team was really well built. The loss of Golden Tate would prove to be pretty important, I think.
Mhm.
Not that it necessarily would have changed the outcome of the next Super Bowl, but
Yeah, true.
I think that it would
The
have
offense stagnated a little bit in the next couple of years.
exactly.
But
And-
their Pete Carroll's genius of finding wide receivers really carried the team the next year.
Yep.
All right. Continue. Sorry.
No, I was pretty much done. I have them at a low S tier. And,
Nick,
Yeah,
you also have them?
I agree with Chandler having him at a low S tier. Not only was the defense spectacular, but the offense was as well, like you guys said. Very similar to their 2014 team minus the wide receiving core. But for some reason, I feel like the team was pieced together better. Well, actually, no. Never mind.
It was the peak of like their excitement as a franchise, because once you win the first one, there's definitely like not
you can go do
a
another.
sophomore slump. Yeah. But there's less of a, you already have the satisfaction of winning one. You're not like as hungry for the second one. Now, I'm not saying they didn't want to win the second one, and they should have maybe, but this team was definitely a little bit better than that team, but by a noticeable margin.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of glad that we didn't play that Super Bowl or anything, or like the teams, because like what if Brady had gone in against that defense that how angry they were in that first.
Oh yeah.
In that first Super Bowl,
my
he
God.
just would have gotten destroyed. Like he would have gotten
Brady
injured.
would
Or
have
something.
probably, he definitely would have gotten injured.
Also, remember our wide receiving core in 2013?
Brandon LaFell, I think.
Yeah.
No, he wasn't even there yet. 2013,
No.
we had Kenbrell Tompkins, Amendola. Edelman was starting to become actually better, and we had Aaron Dobson. And also Gronk got injured, so we didn't really have a tight end either.
Yeah.
Aaron Dobbs.
He was a first-round pick.
Yeah.
I think. Right? Or maybe it was a second-round pick.
Not a bust, I don't think.
No, we picked him.
Really?
Really?
Dobson, yeah. Here, I'll look it up. Hold on. It might
Wow,
have been a second-round
Belichick
pick.
picking the wrong positions at the
Receiver?
wrong times.
Hold on. Aaron.
It wasn't even that good.
He was a wideout.
Dobson.
He was drafted in the second round out of Marshall. He was in late. That's still pretty early for a Belichick receiver. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
But anyway, that's not really that important to this topic.
Yeah, all right.
But,
So
Low S tier.
S tier, low S tier.
Middle S tier, something like that.
Okay, that works. I mean, if you guys both.
All right, now we move on to the 2015 Patriots.
So, Stuart, you remember how you said, how do you pass on that defense? This is how you pass on that defense.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't. I argue that they weren't quite as good.
Yeah.
Once Jeremy Lane went out, they just kept attacking that corner over and over and
It
over
wasn't
again.
as good of its secondary, for sure.
Yeah, and
but-
Sherman was hurt in that game.
I still have this as, I think this is probably the best of the teams here.
I had them actually just a tick below the team we just ranked. I know that you guys probably both disagree with me, but I still have them as an S tier. Because I had the Seahawks as like a mid to high S tier, so I have the Patriots here too. Yeah, obviously. The thing that I always just hold against this team is that they did start 2-2, and it wasn't like a good start to the season.
Yeah.
So
That's
you
true.
You have to hold that against the totality of the team. But that being said, of course, the playoff run was pretty great, down 14 twice against a very good Ravens team, destroying the Colts, and then beating possibly the best secondary of all time with these short white receivers. Brady had 4 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks, but it's all good. And then, of course, the interception at the end of the game.
Should not have won that game, but they did.
Yeah, that was a miracle, dude. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But I'll agree with you. I'll say that they're the best team on this list. I'll throw them at a high S tier. The thing that really stands out, the thing that stands out for me is not only the playoff run, that game against the Ravens was spectacular, but then I wouldn't even say that the Colts game was that good just because of Deflategate. But then in the Super Bowl, I think that's the Super Bowl is the grand slam on this whole team as in general. Not only the regular season and the game against the Ravens, but this Super Bowl was not only going up against one of the toughest teams ever in the Super Bowl. Like, these were 2 of the most even teams to ever play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
And
there
then at
wasn't
the
even a
same time-
favorite before the game. They didn't even
There
have
was,
a line.
it broke
no line.
even.
Yeah, it broke even.
was
That's the
pick 'em.
first time it's ever happened. That's the only time it's
Yeah.
ever happened.
Only time it's ever happened.
Yeah. But
But the sheer fact that also the Patriots were dealing with the mental distraction of Deflategate, whether they did it or not, they didn't
Probably
cheat
did.
in the Super Bowl. Yeah, they probably did. But they didn't cheat in the Super They didn't cheat in the Super Bowl. And
As
going
far as-
along with those mental gymnastics going to the Super Bowl and how important that week is, and especially Media Day, that stands out to me too because that
Marshawn
was
Lynch, though.
so
Yeah.
that was
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
nonstop fire at the Patriots. Even at the start of the game, Chris Collinsworth was like, "Oh, I sat down with Tom Brady and looked him in the eyes. I was like, oh, did you cheat?" And he was like, "No, sir, I did not." And then
Yeah.
there was
What
like
was he supposed to say? Yeah, I did.
Yeah, I cheated.
Yeah, my
Yep.
bad.
yeah.
My bad.
Sorry,
live
Chris.
brother.
I was gonna admit,
Deflategate-
Chris, don't tell anybody though.
This is really, really a side note, but did Deflategate really matter?
Yeah, right. It's harder
No.
to throw a football when it's
Like,
deflated.
I don't
Like,
think
why-
it matters.
Even with the properly inflated balls, first off, it's harder to throw the ball with a deflated ball. Second
Yeah.
off, we still won that game by a lot.
45 to
It was not-
7.
And 21 points in that game came from running plays. So
It was
Yeah.
not close. It's like,
I
oh
mean, that's
yeah,
just-
but they were all demoralized by that point. No, they weren't. They were demoralized walking into the building because that
Yeah.
was such a good Patriots team.
It was snowing, bro. How are they supposed to win?
yeah, it was like a mix of rain
Another
and
reason
sleet.
that deflating the ball is even more difficult. Oh my god, it just
All right, so you guys want to
Upset
rank
me.
this at an S tier?
a high S tier.
It's gotta be.
This is my number one team.
Yeah, I would
My
agree.
number
with Chandler
zero.
and
This is my number
Trevor.
0 team.
Dang.
They're that good.
I
Hey,
think
they're
they're good.
I'm not even a homer like that. I'm not even a homer.
Me
like
neither.
That.
I'm being dead
Yes, you are.
honest.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
I would.
In general,
I would put
yes,
the,
you are.
I would put the
Well,
2013
in general, I
Seahawks
am,
just
but-
to take ahead.
Yeah.
But we can rank them.
It's just
All right.
because the Seahawks had an easier time in the Super Bowl against the Broncos than the Patriots did against the Seahawks. The Seahawks team was a much better team than that Broncos team, and the Patriots still won.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, that Broncos team was the greatest offense of all time going into that Super Bowl. They were
Yeah.
favored in that
Mm.
game, and then they just got
Yeah.
completely spanked.
They put up
Now, you
8
can blame
points.
that on the Broncos' inability to prepare for the Seahawks scheme or the crowd noise that they weren't accounting for. But I mean, that team should have scored. I mean, they just dominated all the teams throughout the regular season, and then they just got spanked. Like it wasn't even fun. It was like they were playing grown men out there, and they were just some little 14-year-old boys out there. Like Peyton Manning
I
just
think that's the one Super Bowl
It
I
wasn't
turned
even-
off.
And it wasn't even cold. It was like it's supposed to be a cold weather Super Bowl. It was like in the 40s. So
know.
Manning should have played well enough, and he just kept throwing picks left and right. Well, he only threw 2 in the first half. He threw it to Malcolm Smith, a linebacker, and he just took it back for 6. I mean,
Oh,
That was the
It was
one
just-
Super Bowl that I didn't watch all the way through.
and then
That
they
was
just had Percy
the start.
Harvin taking the kickoff down just to rub it in some more in the second half. I mean, come on, man. You need to do that. Oh man. Yeah.
but yeah, we can all
Broncos.
agree. We can all agree 2015 Pats are at an S tier.
Yeah.
All right, so now we'll move to the 2016 Broncos.
So
Make a horse sound.
Go
All
on.
right. All right.
Imagine
This is,
Peyton Manning doing that. He was like, "Rrr."
He went Omaha.
Omaha.
All right, so they start. Okay, so offensively, this team was kind of crap.
Yeah.
This
Well,
is the third
yeah.
of my trinity of teams that are similar: the 2011 Giants, the 2012 Ravens, and the
Well-
2015 Broncos.
I don't think the Ravens were. I mean, their defense was great, but the offense was just as much of the team's effort.
Well, in the playoffs it was, but not as much. So in the
Okay,
regular.
yeah, in the regular
That's what
season.
I'm
All right.
talking about.
Wait,
And
let
then-
me just make like a 1-second point.
Sure.
I'm saying these teams by the year that they won the Super Bowl. Like when Chandler just
Yeah.
said it's the 2015 Broncos,
Oh, sorry,
it was the
yes.
2015 season,
Yeah.
but the Super Bowl was played in 2016, just to not get everybody like, oh, technically the 2016 Broncos were not in the Super Bowl.
Okay, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay, good.
But yeah, I mean, this team, they won games with Brock Osweiler. What else do I really have to say?
Oh, I have a quick point about the Brock Osweiler thing.
Yeah.
I really like them.
His numbers as the Broncos quarterback, not as a Texas quarterback, or the Browns
Yeah.
quarterback, in that season were
Did he
better than
play the
Manning.
Browns?
Peyton Manning, briefly, Peyton Manning had 9 touchdowns and 17 picks when he got hurt, and they put Osweiler in. Osweiler had a positive touchdown-interception
Yeah.
ratio. They beat the Patriots down 21-7. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Chris Harper had 2 muff punts, which was part of the reason. But Brock Osweiler was probably better than Manning that season. Peyton
Mhm.
Manning was pretty bad,
Oh,
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah,
Nah,
no,
you're not good.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
The running game wasn't terrible. Monte Ball was okay, and then C.J. Anderson had probably his best season
Yes.
of his career. O-line was good. They had, receiving weapons. They just weren't doing that much with them.
Mhm. It was Eric Decker, Marius Thomas.
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
Decker had
yeah.
left already. It was Emmanuel
Had he?
Sanders.
mean,
Yeah,
Los Angeles.
he had gone to the Jets. But yeah, the offense was like average at best, and then the defense, of course, we haven't really got into that yet, but it's just like insanely good.
Oh,
it wasn't
yeah.
necessarily like the Seahawks where they would like, or not like the Seahawks, but like certain teams where they had like goal line stands or like come up clutch. This team would just not let the other team get any yards in like the first 2 quarters of the game, just demoralize them in the first half.
It's one of the best front sevens in NFL history.
Yeah, DeMarcus Ware, Von Miller, Derek Wolfe was on that team, Malik Jackson.
Good.
Nick Antonakis was on that front.
Let's
He
go.
didn't he didn't make much of an impact, but it was okay.
I was there.
Still got his ring.
Yeah, still got my ring.
Brendan Davis got his ring.
Wait, but Stuart, where would you put him? I was going to say I was going to put him at a low A.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This went back to my point about Osweiler. I forgot about that. But
yeah.
I think they would have been better if they just started him. But since Peyton had been their guy and it was Peyton Manning, you're not going to start Brock Osweiler or Peyton Manning. They're like, we have to start Peyton. And the difference in the two of them wasn't like dramatic. It wasn't like Osweiler was great, but he was at least like average. And I think Peyton was actually like considerably below average at this point.
Yeah.
So he did play well against the Pats in that AFC game. But
Yeah, he did.
I had them as a B tier.
I have them as I was really teetering. I have them as a high B.
I had them a little bit below. I'd say I put them just right around the level of that Ravens team, like right there.
I would say they're better than the Ravens. That's why I'm putting them at a low A. Well,
Wow.
Actually, wait, hold on. Because the Broncos' road to the Super Bowl that year was good.
No,
especially that game against the Pats.
Yeah, but okay. So
Their
let's
defense
just think
shut
about
down Brady, dude.
The first game was against
Tom Brady.
but that first game against the Steelers, right? There's no Antonio Brown, banged up after that brawl of a game against the Bengals.
Yeah,
banged up team. They've just won that game at home, and then a pretty banged up Patriots team. They should have won that, or they should have at least gone to overtime, unless Gostkowski missed his first extra point in like 8 years, and then we have to go for 2.
I hate that game.
Brady doesn't see Gronk over the middle and throws a pick to TJ Ward. But the Patriots were in that game, and they weren't like – this was like a banged-up team. This is coming off the Super Bowl win and coming off tons of injuries at the receiver positions. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Edelman and Gronk could come back, but it was still like they were – it still wasn't 100%. And they almost did win that game. And then – the Panthers were good and all, but, like, they did not play well in that game either. They got completely shut down.
Wait, Welker was on the Broncos at this point, right?
No, he retired, I think.
He had already retired after 2 years?
He doesn't have a ring.
Damn.
Poor guy. I think he went to, like, the Rams or something. He went to a different team for 1 year.
Should have just stuck around for one more year.
Right? Well, no.
It's too bad.
Same with
Tracy
McGrady.
That's what you get for dropping that pass, you idiot.
Yeah, right? He dropped that guy. The bald guy.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all right, let's keep going.
And my head.
2017 Pats.
Wait, where are we putting them?
Oh,
0.
I say mid-high B.
I say B.
I'm kind of teetering. I think that they should be below the Ravens now.
No.
Flacco, though. Flacco popped off.
I would say they're just a little below. I'd say they're just a tick below as well.
Really, I'd say they're a tick above, personally.
Okay, let's just think they're below. So
yeah, tick below. So, whoops, sorry, Chandler. Horse noises aren't going to save you today. Okay, what are we doing?
Yeah, let's just 2017 Pats.
2017 Pats.
Wait,
real quick. Nick, what's your opinion on Pat Patriot?
What's my opinion on who?
Pat Patriot.
I don't know. He's just a mascot.
He kind of looks like he has kids in his basement, but it's all good.
Wait, he kind of looks like what?
He kind of looks like he has kids in his basement. He looks like he has kids in his basement, but it's all good.
What the hell? Imagine. He's just like not talking because he's a mascot. He's like. Also, he got trucked by Jamal Adams at the Pro Bowl and had to get like. Oh my god! Yeah.
Hospitalized. I'm sorry, it's kind of funny, even though I'm kind of.
Jared Stidham's career.
Yeah, right. That pick six. He was like.
Yeah.
And Jared Stidham was like, "Oh." All right. So what were we talking? Oh yeah. So I had these dudes at a C tier. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Whoa.
I have them at an A tier.
Yeah.
S tier.
I don't think they're quite as good as that 14 team or that Seahawks team. I think they're a high A tier. Okay, first of all, they had a pretty easy regular season schedule. They did go 14-2, which is pretty good.
Well,
But-
without Brady though, in the first 4 games, though.
Yeah, Brady was undefeated that year.
They wasn't.
That's
They lost
pretty
to Seattle.
impressive.
Unfortunately, they did lose one game with Brady.
Really?
They
Oh, because
did?
it was 3-1, not 2-2. You're right.
They lost to Seattle
Yeah.
because we at home. It was a good game.
Oh yeah,
but
you're right. Sorry.
it was kind of a reverse of that Super Bowl. They should have ran Blunt at the 4th and goal and tied the game, but they instead did a slant. Yeah, so no Gronk,
And threw an
obviously.
interception?
No, it wasn't a pick, but they
Oh,
didn't-
okay. I was
didn't
gonna
drop
say
it.
that's weird.
Slants
Yeah,
That
cheese.
was really weird.
But anyway, team went 14-2. They were undefeated on the road, 1 seed. They defeated in a surprisingly close game the Brock Osweiler-led Texans, and then they defeated the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. That was
Cheated the Steelers.
what?
Did you just say we cheated the Steelers?
No, I said we defeated.
Or
Oh,
defeat.
okay. I was like, don't throw
cheated
that
to
cheating thing on me.
We cheated to defeat the Steelers in the AFC
Yep.
game. That was a
Stuart
whooping.
confirmed it.
Yeah,
So-
it's true. I was an insider.
Don't be surprised
And then,
if Bill shows up to your house and be like, oh,
all right,
sorry.
Nick, this is where an amazing effort to come back down from 28-3, and it's a testament to the team. But I would rank the team higher had they won 45-10 than if they had come
Yeah.
back from 28-3.
I agree.
You have to hold it against them if they were down in the first place. And that Malcolm Butler was just getting destroyed by Taylor Gabriel, and it would have made no difference had he started the next game.
Yeah,
But that's another point.
That's true.
Agree.
Yeah, it's
Wait,
true.
whoa.
Yeah.
What?
You
No,
agree?
no, no, no,
It would have
no,
made
no, no.
difference?
No,
Yeah, you agree. Yep, he's agreed. It's on
No.
camera. It's on camera. It's on camera. He agrees.
No, I agree that Butler
And he
got burned.
agrees. He agrees. Nick, he
He
was even worse the
agrees.
following season. So what makes you tell you that he would have been able to stop Alshon
Well,
Jeffrey?
you even said it in one point in one of the episodes. You were like, "Oh yeah, if Butler started that game."
I just
he
said
would've
that
won."
just so that they would.
Oh no! Yeah, because it's recorded. It's recorded. Yeah, so I have.
You just said that, Nick. You have.
I
but
have
the thing
dirt
is,
on
have
you,
no,
Stuart.
you have no evidence or proof. We have so much more proof that Butler wasn't that good, and it would have made no difference in that Super Bowl. You
I have
just brought
proof
them.
that
You
Logan
just wanted
Ryan
them
was
to win.
bad.
Butler was worse.
So was Malcolm Butler.
No, Ryan was worse that game.
Oh yeah, but Butler didn't play, so of course he was.
Yeah,
worse
Well,
than
no, obviously,
I was
but
as good as Malcolm
still.
Butler that game.
All right, you know what? Let's just move on here. Or that's not.
No,
move
no,
on,
wait.
but-
Wait.
yeah.
Well, I gotta argue low S just because I agree with the point about the comeback, but at the same time, I would give that more to the Falcons instead of the Patriots. The Falcons were that good to go up 28-3 because they were stacked. Julio
Yeah,
was
but
popping
You don't
off.
say we're that bad to
Freeman
blow
was
up
popping
28-3.
off.
But you can
Ryan
say
was
we
popping
were
off.
bad. We went down
Sanu was there
26-3.
as well. We weren't
Yeah.
even that bad. They just got that pick six was honestly it was kind of lucky. They just read us really well.
Yeah, Brady threw like a terrible pass.
Yeah.
No, it was not a terrible pass. They just read the
Yeah, it
play.
was. And so then he
They
shouldn't
baited
have
him
thrown
in
it
and
to
read
him.
the play. It
Yeah,
wasn't a bad
He
throw.
shouldn't have thrown the ball.
Wasn't a bad throw.
Yes, it was. He didn't read the
telegraphed
defense, and he threw a pick.
Amendola was open. They run the stick coverage. They bump into him. Boom, pick.
Yeah, it was a pick. It was a bad
Yeah.
throw.
Yeah, but he was open when he threw the ball.
But
You
then
didn't
he
see it
wasn't open
coming.
when it got there.
Nick, you don't
Okay,
know how
well, you
a
didn't see it
read
coming.
works?
All right.
If I roll the ball to you right now and then somebody walks in between it and picks it up, was that a good roll? No, it wasn't because.
It's because you didn't account
I mean,
for
if
that
it
in the
was
first
right,
time.
if it was right to me and it was a crisp pass.
And then
But it
Brady,
wasn't a crisp
he couldn't even
pass.
catch him. He couldn't even catch Alfred down the sideline.
Yeah,
He had a
because
clear
Brady's
angle.
like 40 years old, and this
He
is
was like, I got it.
he was like, and he dove. That was the turning point of the game. Actually, no,
it
it
was
wasn't.
Not really.
That
I
field
say
goal
it's,
was.
I say it's an A. It's an A.
I say low S, below 2015 and 2014, but low S.
I say it's a mid A.
I say it's an A.
Mid A.
We have
Yeah,
it at A, Nick. Move on.
Move
Fine,
on.
high A. High A. It averages.
Whatever. Whatever you say.
You just got Nick. You just got owned.
No, I didn't.
You did, dude.
I owned
What?
you.
No.
I owned you, dude. All right, next team.
Oh wait! Before I forget, if you haven't already, make sure to go follow.
Don't do it. This is a bunch of terrible Yoshi memes.
Make sure to go follow Nosebleeds Podcast on Instagram at nosebleeds__podcast. I'm kind of doing this in the middle of the episode so nobody can like skip over it. But now that I said
Yeah,
that, they're
Nick-
gonna
Nick
be like,
keeps posting
well,
a
screw
stupid
you,
Yoshi
Nick.
meme.
We're gonna skip over it every time.
Yeah, we
All right.
should.
Anyway,
All right, let's move on. 2018.
we'll throw it now to the
2018
Eagles.
Eagles.
yeah 2018
All right,
Eagles.
Nick, make a noise like an eagle.
This is a stupid episode. What are we doing?
This is good. I like this mostly. But,
I know.
All right. So this team was stacked. Carson Wentz 100% would have been the MVP if he had actually been healthy all season.
MVP.
They had a pretty good receiving core. Zach Ertz was really good. Good running back. They got Jay Ajayi. Amazing O-line. Doug Peterson was a good
Jeffrey.
coach. Best defense maybe in the league that year. Secondary was probably at its best. Eagles fans hate their secondary right now, but they always get mad at it on social media.
They got Darius Slay.
Now they're happy. But Fletcher Cox just an absolute beast this season. They went 13-3, not the strongest division, but they were good. And then they lost Wentz, brought in the backup Foles who had been there before. Big Dick Nick. They played the Falcons in the divisional. They just escaped, but then they just destroyed the Vikings in the NFC.
Oh my God.
And then of course you can kind of blame it on maybe the Patriots fumbling there, but Foles just played a hell of a game in that Super Bowl. Apart from one interception, he was amazing. Brought to back the Philly special, a really gutsy call, although I hate that play so much.
Me too.
It's really great.
We're not homers. We're admitting it was good.
I think they're pretty comparable to that Patriots team we were just talking about.
Yes, I agree.
I have them at an A. I have them just below that Patriots team.
I agree 100%. I would
agree with you too.
I was considering putting them slightly above the Patriots, and then I didn't because, it really just came down to the quarterback play at the end. No, not because I'm a homer. I said the Patriots were going to go 6-10 for a while. I am not.
I know. I'm just kidding.
But obviously, I think that both Nick Foles and Carson Wentz in the 2017-18 season were better than Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler were in the 2015-16 season. Osweiler, whatever.
Don't sleep on Osweiler.
But
I think Jared Stidham is pretty comparable to Brock Osweiler.
What?
I think Jared.
Wow, that's pretty good considering that's you.
Actually, he's actually
no. You just gave it to him. You just gave it to him. That's on recording.
Brock
I'm gonna cut
Osweiler
that out and post it on the Instagram. And say Stuart loves
Texans.
you at Jared Stidham.
I'll say Brock Osweiler on the Texans.
Oh.
Brock Osweiler on the Browns.
I didn't get that part before, so I'm just going to trim the clip.
That's not fair. Then I'm just
No, it is.
We'll make the clip
of
you saying that
I'm going to report it. I'm going to report it, and then I'm going to get the post
for slander?
For having me being in it without my consent. I could do that pretty easily.
Dang.
I got
what was I saying? The interchangeable quarterback play. That's what just put me right below the Patriots.
Yeah. I do think they would have won with Wentz, though, if I'm being honest.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, they would. They probably would have beat us worse with Wentz.
Well, maybe not. But
Brady was elite in that game.
Brady was
505 passing yards.
Logan Ryan was trash.
Yeah, Malcolm Butler was going to be worse, too.
Yeah, see,
I'm just saying if we threw him in and we changed up the –
of you just saying,
we threw in the 5'10 cornerback on the 6'6
Alshon Jeffrey. No, Alshon Jeffrey.
And then he would have got on his head, aggressive catch, dance in the end zone. And if
we switched the coverage up and we threw Butler on their wide receiver 4, I feel like
that's going to make a big chance.
Why would we match up Logan Ryan against Alshon Jeffrey? That's stupid.
I genuinely don't even know who their wide receiver 4 was.
Me neither. Maybe it's Nelson Aguilar.
No, Nelson Aguilar.
Screw you.
It's not an especially difficult name to pronounce. Aguilar.
I thought there was a D in there.
No.
What did you say?
Let's just call him No Hands Nelson.
Let's call Tom Brady No Hands Brady then.
Yeah, he just dropped the ball. Wow. It was like
he should have caught that pass. He should have caught that pass.
You should have 10 catching on Madden.
Well, if Butler was out there, they would have lost by more.
No.
You know the interception that they had? You know the interception that they had?
He wouldn't have caught it.
Yeah.
It would have been a touchdown instead. They would have been 48 to 33
he wasn't even involved in that play. It was McCourty and Harmon.
See, we're going to switch the coverage, so it wouldn't.
And then we're going to put Butler out there, and he gets burnt like toast. Delicious boring toast. Put some butter on it. Alshon Jeffrey moons us in the end zone. Touchdown Eagles. They win the game. Because then they go. Because then
that would be a flag. No, if he mooned us, that would be a flag, and then would have changed the total outlook of the game.
Really, Nick? Then we would have gone down. We would have gone down 22-3, and then the Patriots would have been demoralized and given up.
No.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, move on.
And then they would have.
Okay, wait. We'll rank them. We'll rank them below the Pats. Below the Pats.
Yeah, below the Pats.
Okay, now we move on to 2019 Patriots.
This
All
is
right,
this is a team that I think that the real Super Bowl was against the Chiefs.
I have them
Yes,
as
me
the C
too.
tier. I have them as the C tier.
Whoa!
Why wouldn't I have them?
Whoa!
Their offense was pretty anemic.
I had him as a B tier.
as
I
most of
also
the
have
season.
them as B tier. I have them as a lower B tier.
I'm gonna
Yeah, me
say
too.
they had a good defense, but
Mhm.
okay, taking into the totality of the season, they went 11-5. The division was not very strong that year. We lost games we should have won, and not because of some, I guess my miracle, but like, other things. And they just got crushed by the Titans. I remember that game too. And the Lions, they lost to the Lions. The totality of the team was pretty bad. The defense was good towards the end of the season, but the beginning of the year they were struggling like a pretty decent amount. Brady and the offense was not great until the playoffs at all. It was struggling pretty much all year long. So it basically they were just like a above average to good team in the regular season, and then they had a very good playoff run.
Yes.
So that they were talented roster wise, but not more than some of these other teams. So I have to put them as like a high C. I think they're the highest seed.
Who do you have them above or below?
So I would have them below the Broncos, 2015 Broncos, the Eagles, both of the Patriots teams, Seattle, and then one other team we haven't listed yet. And I might even have them below the Ravens too.
Okay,
yeah.
Because I have the Pats about just as good as the 2012 Ravens.
Yeah,
I have them around the same.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
but I also had the
2013
I had the Ravens at a mid B. What did we decide on? Did we decide on a high C?
Yeah, we said mid B. But
Mid B.
above the
So then,
wait, did we say above the Broncos?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
So then I think that the
Yeah.
Patriots would be slightly, or no, I think that they're in between those two. A little bit worse
Okay,
than the
so-
2015 Broncos and better than the 2012 Ravens. So mid B.
I
No,
would
they
agree
have
with that.
Didn't we have the Ravens higher though?
Yeah, we did.
thought
We
we
had the
had-
Ravens above, then the Patriots, and the Broncos.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Okay.
In
Just because we beat the
ascending
Chiefs, bro, you can't deny that. And Michelle played really
I
good in the
can't deny
playoffs.
it. Yeah, no, Nick, I'm going to deny that we beat the Chiefs. It didn't
order. Yeah,
happen.
no, we didn't. We actually lost.
It was a pre-recorded broadcast.
Yep.
Wow.
6 months earlier. You're lying.
All right,
It never
okay.
happened. No, I'm just
Wow.
kidding. That was the most impressive win of the season. But
It really was. I was so scared.
I wasn't, because I thought if we lost, it wouldn't be a big deal. Because I'm like, wow, we even made it to this point, and then they won.
I mean,
So
I
was
wasn't.
like,
I
all right.
wasn't scared until I realized that we could win that game,
Right.
and I was like,
Mhm.
oh, no, I don't want to lose.
But they won. But yeah, and
Bro, you
obviously
played
not an
so
exactly,
well that year.
not an. No, we did not really.
He was-
In the playoffs.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
not in the last game.
Well, he had more picks than touchdowns. That's all good.
Really?
Yeah, he had one touchdown in the Chargers game. Then he had one touchdown and 2 picks in the AFC Championship, and then he had a pick in the Super Bowl. So he had 2 touchdowns
Wow.
and 3 picks. Yeah, he did not play. I mean, he played as best as I think as he could have in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But like, they just got owned.
He did what he
Defense
needed
for the rest
to
of the
do.
game. That's all good though.
The Patriots in that year, they peaked at the right time.
It's true. It's
Mhm.
true.
That's just a
Facts.
general thing about the Patriots. That's what I really attribute to, and can't believe I didn't see this retrospectively, that they peaked at the wrong time in 2019 because they were really good at the beginning of the year, and then they just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
A couple times they had.
Well, they weren't even that
2007.
good at the beginning of the 2019 season.
Well, they just had
They were
an
just
easy schedule.
a
07,
wicked easy schedule.
and
We
then
barely beat the
2015.
Giants.
2015, they started 10-0 that season, and then finished 12-4.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, isn't that sad? We lost so many of the receivers. The only receiver we had left was like Fell.
Yeah.
We lost Edelman. We lost Gronk. It was not good. And we lost Deion Lewis, who was having a good year. But
Yeah.
yeah, so we're gonna put this team. I have the Patriots. Yeah, I have them as a high C. Still.
Okay. We both have them as mid B, I think. So we'll do a low
Okay.
B.
Yeah,
Do we think they're better or worse than the Broncos? That's the question.
I think they're worse.
Worse.
Better or worse than the Ravens?
I
Better.
also think they're worse.
Yeah, I think they're worse than the Ravens too, so I think we have to throw them down. I think the Ravens are better than the Broncos.
Me too.
Anyway, we'll throw them at the bottom of the B tier.
All right, cool.
Last
Okay,
one.
so
final team.
last but not least, we have the most recent Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs.
I'm really trying hard not to do recency bias, but I have them as a
Low what?
low S tier.
Wow, really? I have them as a high
What?
B.
This offense
Same.
is elite. This is
Okay,
reminiscent of the
defense is not
2007 Patriots.
Yeah,
offense.
that's the thing. Okay, when you're talking about a team, even if an offense this good, which I think it's the best offense maybe ever, just because of Patrick Mahomes.
It's like the Broncos, except reverse.
The defense is not good. Like generally speaking. The secondary is pretty weak outside of Matthew. They have a good
Yeah.
pass rusher in Chris Jones. They lost Justin Houston. They lost D Ford. This defense is like below average, I'd say. It's not like terrible, but it's below average.
Yeah,
Their
I'm not
offense
entirely
carries
disagreeing
them.
with you, but
So when you have to consider the entire team roster, top bottom, and of course there's other factors, but roster from top to bottom, it's just not as strong as a lot of these teams that we've ranked, so far.
Mhm.
I don't think it's a better roster than the Eagles. I don't think it's a better roster than the 2016 Patriots. But I still have them as like maybe even like a low A though, just because of that offense.
I would
No.
say it's comparable to the Broncos because the Broncos defense that year that they won in 2016, the Super Bowl was in 2016, but that year that they won, they were just their defense was so elite and their offense was like, eh.
I'd say that
I mean, it's
the
okay. You can bail them out when they need it to, but
the
it
Chiefs
was
defense,
probably
the
like
Chiefs,
the 13th best.
yeah, the
around
Chiefs
that.
defense is a little better than the Broncos offense was that year. Dude,
Yeah,
I
Tyrann
would say
Mathieu
vice versa.
well, that's
Tyrann
silly.
Mathieu.
Because, you're wrong. Tyrann Mathieu is like maybe the best safety in the NFL.
Yeah.
So
Okay, but
the Broncos didn't have
Actually,
anybody like that
no.
on offense.
Jamal Adams, I would say, is better.
Oh yeah, because he picked off your boyfriend Jared Stidham. But other than that,
Okay, but one quick
Wow.
point about my thing. So I was looking at
Yeah.
this less as a total roster thing and more of a how they match up to any given team. And I think that offense is strong enough to compensate for the defense against pretty much any team. So that's why I had them at an S tier. If they had a better defense,
I definitely get that point.
yeah, if they had a better defense, then I think that they would, even if it was like fractionally better, then I think that they would easily be probably the best team in NFL history, like that one season. But
That's bold.
if
If
they had
their
a better
defense was like really good, then yeah,
if they
Their
went
playoff
from
run
like
wasn't even that impressive.
it wasn't.
What?
They were down 24
Well,
to
actually,
0.
yeah, the game against the Texans was really
Yeah.
good.
They
but
scored 4 touchdowns in about 8 minutes. This is like Madden.
Who did
yeah,
they play
man,
first?
They were ridiculous.
They were a
Who
wild.
did they play
were
first?
Okay,
the Texans,
Texans, yeah,
Oh yeah, and
They-
then the AFC
Texans and
Championship.
the
Who they
Patriots.
play?
Tennessee.
Oh,
It was
sorry,
like a
Tennessee, not the Patriots.
They were down 17-7, but then Mahomes just went off, and then it was
Yeah.
over.
Can somebody quickly look up what their defensive rating was that year? Like where
That's
they
not
ranked?
important enough. Let's just say that they're good.
Well,
they're
let's
excellent.
say
Do
that
it.
they had if they had the 5th best defense in the league, or we'll say they had the 6th best defense in the league that year. I think that would be the greatest team of all time.
Well, they'd have to win.
It was
games
nowhere
in the
near
season.
there.
What was it, like 16?
It was probably 13, I would imagine.
I think it's a little lower,
Um,
but they did put up a good amount. They did
I'm looking.
put up-
Hold on.
Well,
Nick,
the
come
lower
on.
that it is, the better.
Wait,
the better it
by
is for.
fantasy perspectives or
No,
not
by-
fantasy?
By defensive rating.
Okay, wait. I'm looking. They were 7.
7,
This is
really?
Weird.
What?
Well, it's probably
They were
because
above the
their
49ers? How is that possible?
It's probably because their
That's-
offense was so good at controlling the ball.
Yeah,
This
that's
is
probably
wrong.
fair.
This has to
You
be
can't be
cool.
right.
But whatever. That point isn't super important. But I still have them at a low S tier. I'd be fine moving them to an A, but I can't see them going below a mid A.
Mick, where do you have them?
I had them at a high B.
Me too. So let's put them at an A then.
Whoa.
Well, because I had
Well-
S, so that balances out.
We can put them as the lowest A teams. So then
Sure.
that would,
Better than the... Okay, yeah. All right. A very
Better than
low
the-
A. I can
not,
see that.
Not better than the Eagles and Pats, I guess, which I don't agree with. But
I definitely do.
I agree. I'd say that those teams are both a little better too.
Okay.
Not by a lot, but they are better.
I mean, Mahomes is a GOAT, so...
I mean, honestly,
That's all.
if the
That's
Chiefs
really
had
the
won the
only
Super
reason
Bowl,
why they're
if the
here.
Chiefs had won the Super Bowl last year, I might even have that team higher because that defense last year was better than it was this year.
that's true.
Yeah.
They had D Ford and Justin Houston.
Mhm.
Both those dudes are Pro Bowl level, linebackers.
Yeah, if they won it in 2019 or 2018, the 2019 Super Bowl, when
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying.
Which I think
They would have been. They probably would have been better than the 2017 Patriots and the 2018 Eagles.
Remember that Monday night game between the Chiefs and Ravens that year? When it was 54-51.
Oh, and then it was
Oh,
also
yeah.
the Chiefs versus the Rams.
Yeah, Chiefs versus the Rams. That could have been.
Oh
the Super
yeah,
Bowl
that
game.
was a really good game.
It was like one of
Yeah.
the best games I've ever seen. Mahomes had
Yeah.
6 touchdowns and 3 picks. Like, dang.
Yeah. It was like
Just the
a
sheer-
game at Texas Tech for him.
The sheer volume. It was like a college football game.
Yeah, especially because the Big 12. It was oh my god, there was one game in college. I forget who they played,
On
but he had like
Thanksgiving,
in college.
Oh
No,
yeah,
Mahomes.
uh,
he had like 700
He had like 7
yards. I
touchdowns
think it was
for, like,
against. I think it was against
600
OU.
something
I think it was
It was,
against.
No, it was
It was
Texas.
against Baker
no, it was not
Mayfield.
Texas. I can tell you that it was not
I think it was
Texas.
against Oklahoma.
I think it might have been against. It was Oklahoma State.
Then it
I don't
wasn't
know.
on Thanksgiving.
Whatever. That's
Might
not
have been on
important.
Thanksgiving.
Somebody, if you're watching this, look it up and put it in the comments. But yeah,
Wow.
he was. He was treating them like they were a Big 12 defense, which is a huge insult, especially because it wasn't that bad of a defense.
It was a good defense.
It wasn't a
The
great
Rams?
defense. It was the
2018
Rams.
Rams?
Yeah, they were quite good.
Like it was a
It's
good
not a
defense.
Super Bowl.
I mean, yeah, that
It was
was
one of the better. It was one of the better in the league.
yeah. But yeah, so we're going low A tier for that. So Nick,
right,
read it
yeah.
off for us.
All right, I'll read it back. So, in the S tier, we have the New England Patriots, who won and I'm going by the year the Super Bowl took place, so I don't have to say that again. Okay, the 2015 Patriots. Then we have the 2014 Seahawks. Then we have in the A tier, we have the 2017 Patriots, the 2018 Eagles, and the 2020 Chiefs. In the B tier, we have the 2013 Ravens, 2019 Patriots, and 2016 Broncos. Then in C tier, we have the 2011 Packers. And then in the D tier, we have the 2012 Giants. Screw the Giants.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Eagle.
Let's go.
Nick, make a Packer sound. Make the sound of a Packer.
Eating.
Cheese? I don't know. What kind of sounds do Packers make? I don't know.
They pack things.
Like packing to go for a trip. I don't know.
Wow.
Packing.
The meat packing industry.
Aaron Rodgers packing it for
Whoa,
Los
what the heck?
Angeles.
Whoa,
What's
Nick.
that?
Los Angeles.
Whoa,
He's
Nick.
moving
Aaron Rodgers
to the
Aaron Rodgers-
Chargers.
Aaron Rodgers
Rodgers
packing.
packing.
Okay. Dang.
All
It's
right.
a little awkward. It's a little bit of a weird note to end on. But all right.
Yeah. Any other points you guys have?
Jared Stidham's packing.
Oh.
Jared Stidham.
Yeah, Nick thinks Jared Stidham's packing.
When he starts, then you'll all see.
That he's packing.
I probably still won't. Even if he did.
Dang, Nick. All right.
I'm
let's move on.
looking firmly at the numbers.
All right.
All right. Let's
Well-
close it out.
Yeah, that's all we have for you in this episode. If you haven't already, make sure go follow the Instagram at nosebleeds __ podcast for all the greatest content that has to do with the Nosebleeds podcast. I bet you would really enjoy it. So make sure to go follow it. And the next time you will see us will be for our weekly episodes. It will be on Monday the 27th. That will be our first, the hockey episode that we're going to have. We'll be recording it and uploading it on the same day. So that's going to be pretty exciting. You're going to be able to see kind of our live predictions in a sense because, you're not going to be having it spoiled by whatever happens because it's going to be uploaded the same day, whatever. So, yeah, we're looking forward to that. We hope you are too. So stay tuned. Monday the 27th, you're going to see us next. And then Wednesday the 29th for the basketball episode. And then from there, it's going to be every week. Same days, same episodes, stuff like that. So we hope you're all excited because we are. And, yeah, that's it for this episode. We hope you enjoyed our 10th episode special, 2 parts, bunch of tier lists. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to ACMi Sports here on YouTube and leave a like on this video. Leave in the comments any other ideas that you have for future Nosebleeds episodes and what you thought of our tier lists here today. So, yeah, that's all we got for you. From ACMi Sports, my name is Nick Antonakis, and we'll see you next time on Monday the 27th. Thank you so much for watching, everybody.